Thank you, Braden. Have newly crowned manager Craig Stammen with us. Craig, how are you, man? Congratulations on being the Padres' new manager.
Yeah, an exciting day, an exciting challenge. Happy to represent the Friar Faithful here as the manager of the Padres.
Now, you've been representing the Friar Faithful for a little bit here. Now you're out in the forefront. You mentioned family quite a bit. How important was it to get your wife Audrey on board with this? How long did it take you to get her in this direction?
It took a while. It's probably taken years, but I don't know. We were on the same page for a long time. For a long time we thought there's no way this is possible, with our family and be able to move them across country and take them out of school and all that kind of stuff. But we talked to enough people. We got to thank the Melancons. They kind of gave us the blueprint of how they've moved their kids from Florida to Arizona to San Diego, and we're going to follow that plan. And once we decided that, it was like, I talked about it a little. There was some peace that came over both of us to be able to say yes to this decision because we knew it's an opportunity of a lifetime. Hard to say no to, being the manager of Padres with a team like we've got.
Obviously, when you decided to retire in the 23, family's probably at the forefront of your mind. You've missed a lot of time with your kids and your wife. And now to fast forward to this point here, you're sitting in meetings at this point, interviewing candidates, and then however long later, what was the timeline in between you interviewing guys or candidates and then all of a sudden having your name in the hat?
Yeah, man, just to think about what my mind was thinking about 3 weeks ago is completely different than what it is now. Obviously I'm part of the organization and wanted to find the best manager for the Padres, and so I was in on some Zoom calls to start that process. And then we and I were just having conversations about who we thought were great candidates and how we ranked them. And we got done talking about it. And he goes, well, I think I got you at the top of the list. And
he just dropped that on you.
Yeah, he just dropped that on me. And, it's a little bit of a shock, when someone, like AJ believes in you that much. And it pushed Audrey and I to actually think about this. And, is this something that we would like to pursue? If we got that much belief from the organization, we've got to make an informed decision. Yeah. And so then after that, we spent a lot of time, like I said, praying and fasting and thinking about this and how trying to map out the schedule and work it out with our family. And once we came to the conclusion we're taking everybody with us, then we felt pretty good about it. And we're able to say, if you're willing to offer the job to us, we'll say yes.
13 years as a reliever. You spent 6 here as a Padre. How has that shaped your viewpoint and how the type of manager you'll be?
Yeah, I think one quality I have is a little bit of loyalty, and I was lucky in my career. I only really played for 2 organizations. I played 1 year with the Guardians in the middle, but not in the big leagues. But most of my career started with Washington, and then it ended with San Diego, and I feel very connected to this organization. I feel like it is family. They've treated me like family. And so, being a part of this and being in this role is something that's very exciting, and I'm up for the challenge.
Now, you had to get it out the mud, so to speak, right? You weren't a high round draft pick. You're a guy who had to kind of grind. That's the word we often use around this game. How is that, or what kind of lessons from those type of situations are you going to be able to take into your managerial role?
Yeah, maybe it's like people doubting you a little bit or not saying you're quite good enough. And there's probably some people thinking that as me as the manager. But it's also exciting to prove people who I really am and what I stand for, and maybe do it a little bit different than everybody expects. But those challenges as a player, they were so enjoyable. So you've done it before. It's fun to try to get the most out of your talent. And as soon as I took this job, that feeling of what I was as a player, when's my next workout, when's my next throwing session, that constant thought, that feeling, that little nervousness, that little excitement came back right away. And it was I definitely missed that. Now, did I enjoy the 2 years in between? Yeah, I did. I got a lot, my handicap went down and all that kind of stuff. But, this challenge has gotten that excitement back, that feeling back of I'm in the hunt with the boys, and I'm ready to grind it out and make something special happen.
Now, Craig Stammen joins us here, Padres' new manager. And Craig, listen, I've had the opportunity to play for 2 managers that were in their first year, Don Mattingly and the late Ryan Sandberg in Philadelphia. Both of them had their struggles. Even though these are the best of the best type of players, they had their struggles. Where do you see yourself in terms of your staff and leaning on your staff to kind of be able to help you in those first year kind of struggles that many managers deal with at some point?
You're right. I'm going to lean on my staff a lot. And I remember having, small conversations with Bob Melvin about some of this stuff. And he was talking about some of the things he wished he knew when he was a first-year manager. And this was way back when I wasn't even thinking about this. We were just kind of talking. And he's like, I wish that I wouldn't have tried to do everything myself. He said, I felt like I had to be involved in everything and I had to be a part of every decision. And he goes, it's just not the case. He goes, there's a few things that I do need to be in charge of and as the manager, but I got good people around me. If I got good people around me, I just got to be able to trust them.
Right.
That'll be the hard part, but we're going to build that trust within the clubhouse, within the coaching staff. So I'm not doing it all myself. We're going to share responsibility. We're going to share the successes. I'll take the blame, and then we'll see where the dust settles. But I'll, obviously, hopefully gain a lot of experience where we get to the end of the season and we're in that playoff hunt.
Yeah.
That we're rolling and we're humming and we got a good process going.
Now, you mentioned, kind of building off what Mike has done here the last couple of years, adding to his legacy. You obviously have your own strengths, though. Where do you see your strengths being able to be applied to this ball club and how it may be of help?
Yeah, Mike had so much experience of organizing, how to be a great baseball team. He'd been mentored by many great managers, and he'd taken a lot from those guys. And I just listened to what he had to say about that stuff, and I saw how he did it, observing and listening to how he kind of went about his business. So a lot of the things that he did, I'm going to probably keep doing the same thing. What I think I can add is maybe just I'm a little younger. I got a little bit more energy.
Yeah.
I've got some relationships within the clubhouse that are maybe a little bit different. Does that give me the avenue to push them in a little bit different way, or like sneak in there to get them to do a few things that they haven't been quite open to in the past? Maybe I don't know. We'll find out. But, I'm going to treat them, with respect and hopefully get that respect back. And we're going to try to make this team as best they can be.
Craig Stammen joins us here, Padres' new manager. And Craig, you're clearly coming this with your eyes wide open with this situation. I heard you say partnering on multiple occasions up on the stand there. What does that look like for the fans who are listening and may not know what partnering looks like? What exactly is that?
Yeah, partnering, it's a give and a take. We have relationships with our families, our moms, our dads, our wives, our kids. It's not always my way or the highway.
Right.
There's got to be, even in this decision to become the manager, there was a lot of give and take with me and Audrey, deciding what was important to her and what we were going to miss by taking this, what was important to me, what I was going to miss in this, and then coming to a decision that works best for both of us. And I think those types of things can happen throughout the year with players, trying to get them on the field to do certain things in practice or in the game, but like partnering them in the way that's like, it's not just my decision.
Right.
We're in this together. We're accomplishing a goal together. It's not my, championship that we're going to win. It's our championship. It's the Padres championship. It's AJ's, it's John's, it's Eric's, it's Manny's, it's Toddy's.
Right.
It's all of ours together. It's Ruben's. We share that success together. I'll handle the blame, and then we'll do this together.
Last one, I'll let you get out of here. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Mike Shildt did a terrific job of really shielding his players. He always was the man taking all the arrows coming at the ball club. But you also mentioned being able to push the guys. What does that look like? Because I think oftentimes fans hear, managers take the arrows and they're under the impression that there isn't any, pushing going on the backside of that. What does that look like sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, we got great players. So, like, the amount of pushing I need to do is limited.
Right.
But we can give them new ideas on how to navigate a season. And Mike was so good at, like, handling the players and taking the arrows, like you said, in the media and throughout the season and pumping those guys up and making them feel great. But there's ways that, like, maybe they haven't been exposed to, and that's what we're going to challenge our staff to do, is come up with creative ways to keep Manny Machado, healthy for a full season. Xander Bogaerts healthy for a full season as they get a little older in age, and can we have guys peaking at the right time and stuff like that? Just like open to new ideas and creative ideas, and the players will be partnering with that with the coaching staff to create something that we think will build us a championship team.
Well, Craig, congratulations, man. It's been fun, this whole process, watching it come together, man. You get an opportunity to do it. Couldn't have happened to a better person. good luck this year, and we'll be talking quite often during the season.
Yeah,
sure.
I can't wait to make the Gwynn family proud. You guys are the Padres family, and we're all family now, and this is going to be awesome together.
I appreciate those kind words, brother.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.